We're breaking down anything and everything Utica City FC related. This is the Keeper's Corner podcast with your hosts, Matt Sterling and Brandon Brooks. Let's get into it.
I wasn't jamming out. I was listen. I was listening to the intro and just jamming out. I didn't know where we were. That's how. It's something like that. Yeah. Yeah, I would say third officially like live in a row we could go with. How about that? Because we've done live ones. Well, we've done recorded video ones before, but yeah, I'd say like this would be the third live. Terrible. I like it. Wow. And I will not be bidding. What do you think? I'm made of money? No, skin. Yeah, I guess you're right. Unfortunately not. I'm sorry, do I hear excuses? Oh, yeah. I just hear you. Your middle name must be excuses. Because that's all I'm hearing from you. Pull it out. No, you could do it. You could still do it. It's gonna look really wonky and weird. So you're more than welcome to do it, and we will all laugh at you. But hey, you do you. Yeah. Wait, you saw that? I mean, let's be honest. Do you really want to hear him? I mean, you can. This could just be, maybe he's talking through me.
That's gosh darn it.
Did you figure it out?
I did. We're breaking down anything and everything Utica City. Yeah. Okay. Hold on. Maybe we haven't figured this out as good as we thought.
Huber, I welcome being wonky and weird because why?
Okay. I see what
I'm
I
also
did.
lame, and I also have a nut allergy. So we figured out a few things about myself. I really learned about myself last night, thanks to the Twitch chat. So,
no, I see what I did. I turned my mic on in the opening panel, but it didn't carry over to the mainstream, so I am learning that I can mute my mic in one panel and not in the others. Here, I thought I had to mute it and unmute it every time I changed it.
See, this is why I just have a thing that manages all that for me. All right, let's get into it.
Let's get into it. 7-4 Friday night down at Harrisburg. Utica was without some key players. We rested Coughlin that night. Coughlin.
Oh, I didn't catch that.
Gordy.
Oh, I did not
Gordy
catch
was out
that.
with an injury. And spoiler alert for the game that happened yesterday. Gordy was out again for the injury. Mo Ndi rested. Coughlin, Gordy, Mo, and there's someone else that was missing. Why am I drawing a blank?
Gordy.
Oh, Chino. Chino rested on Friday night.
Oh, yeah.
But it was minimal problems for Utica in this game. Some miscues early on that led to goals.
Listen, you didn't mention the best thing of all of who started for us.
I was going to get there, but it's part of the stats and stories.
Oh, fine.
Because my stat that tells the story in this one is the defense, which did a fantastic job helping Julian Rodriguez earn his first career win.
What? AKA...
That moment's going to live in infamy.
I'm sorry.
That moment's going to live in infamy.
If you don't know it, you got to look it up. Please.
Yes. Chino gets... Or not Chino. I'm reading the chat and throwing me off. Julian gets his shot at redemption after... there's no polite way to say this. Taking a ball to the face that just laid him out in Tacoma.
We're glad he's okay. We're glad that, he was able to come back and, give us a show.
Yeah.
Let me tell you.
7 saves on 11 attempts, but the defense in front of him is my stat that tells the story. They combined for... I had this earlier and I have forgotten it, so now I got to do math. 5, 6, 8, 9, 10, 13 blocked shots.
Yeah. Defense was on fire.
So more than half the shots
that
Harrisburg took didn't reach the goalkeeper. We mentioned that game against Texas was probably the best Alava looked. That continued throughout this weekend. He and Logan were flying all over the place defensively in this Harrisburg game. And they looked like a team that had remembered how to play defense for large stretches. There were a couple oopsies. A bad pass led to the first goal. Kind of playing with the ball in our own end led to another. But all in all, no harm, no foul. And, in both those cases, you saw the players that made the mistake own up to it immediately and be like, yeah, my bad, I'm sorry.
Yeah, no, it was a, I don't want to say like a clean game, but it was, it really, that's the way I would put it is, obviously there was still some cards, all on us. But it wasn't like things were getting called just to be called. Like everything that I saw was it deserved what it got. So, but no, fantastic game. Yes, absolutely. The defense was on point. Juan has just been killing it lately. He really has. And, we're taking notice. Like he's doing a lot for us defensively and offensively. You know, not only is he getting the ball for us, he's making opportunities for us too. So keep it
that's
up.
my stat. The block shots, great team effort defensively. What is yours?
Oh, honestly, I was going to go with, you know, it's not great, but he had a much better outing, I felt, in this game, which was Julian, his save percentage. It was only a 6.3, 6.4, but he looked good after he loosened up. One of the big things that I noticed in the first quarter, he was standing like this,
okay, just tight, like
he just
tense,
hands down. Even when they were in like top, I don't know, it wasn't, maybe not top of the arc, but it was like a corner or something. It was a set piece. He was down like this, and it's like any other time you see Wilkin, you see Andrew, hands are up because they're taking up more space than doing this. Once he figured that out, or maybe somebody said something, I don't know, but once he got through that and actually started to loosen up, he really showed some promise, and he did well for us. So I gotta give it to him. Even though it wasn't a stellar performance, it was still a good performance by him, and just showed that he is in fact a good, he's a good backup to the backup. So he is reliable. He had a great performance, and I just want to recognize that. So I'm giving the stat to him.
Yeah, and you can't even, yes, they were winless at the time, but you can't even say it came against a winless Harrisburg, because they were able to pull off the overtime win against Baltimore the next night. And
they do it every season. Every season, Baltimore drops one to Harrisburg in Harrisburg, or even at home. So it happens almost without fail every season we've watched, no matter how good Baltimore is. So I was just waiting for it. I knew it was going to happen. So good job to Harrisburg.
Yeah, I mean, it was only a matter of time. No team goes completely winless in this league.
I mean, I thought Dallas was going to. I think everyone did. Everyone's like,
we thought the Lancers were going to that year, and then they ended up beating KC.
Yep.
But that brings us play that changed the game. Because I mean, it definitely changed at some point. Utica trailed 3 different times, and then Utica made it a no-doubter.
Yes. I actually had one for this. And now I lost it. Crud. Yeah. I don't remember now.
Okay.
You do yours.
Okay.
I had one, and then it just lost.
Right.
It just
Mine's
slipped my
the
mind.
Olava goal, the first one. The one that was an absolute rifle past Navarrete. Just sniper shot, upper 90, far post, beautiful, beautiful looking goal. It gave Utica their first lead before the half, and that swung moment. That's it. Momentum's now in our court. We've scored 2 in a row.
Yep.
And then
originally, I was going to say the first Jace Berger goal,
which
because
was beautiful.
It was. Yes, it was, and it really got at least myself, fans at home, got us hyped up. Like, okay, we're not letting them run away with it. We're keeping pace with them every time, and then it was also his first.
Yes, we should mention that.
So it was like,
congratulations,
that's awesome,
Jace, on your first career MASL goal. You join a long list of Utica players to have scored their first goal against Harrisburg. If I remember, Isak, Keaton. I'm not sure about Keaton, but definitely Isak, Ronnie, Chino, Nilton. There That's just off the top of my head. But like, he was like, "We got a rookie. Let's play him against Harrisburg. They're gonna score."
Oh,
Oh, Cole Stevens.
Who did Gomez get his against? Oh, Gomez got his against Baltimore. Never mind. Yep.
Cole Stevens earlier this year with his first career goal came against Harrisburg.
Yep. Well, I mean, we played him enough.
One more to go.
One more. Yeah, I think that's really what I'm going to go with is just, it wasn't necessarily a momentum swing, but it was a boost. Okay. It was a boost for the team, and the fact that he followed it up with another one from the King. I mean, I think that was, like I said, it gave us a bit of a confidence boost again. Not only did we just keep pace, but we, one of our new guys got to score, and that's a big confidence boost, not only for him but for the people around him.
Yeah.
So,
things that need to change after this game. Something that needed to right
back.
My OBS messed up. You froze right as you were about to start that, and then OBS disconnected on my end, and now it's back. I don't know what happened. It dropped incredibly far. Now it's at full strength again. I have no idea.
Oh yeah, I see the blip.
Yeah.
So I'm gonna be honest. I don't really have one for this.
Okay.
I felt we played good ball. It's hard to gauge something we can change going against a lower tier team.
Yes.
I was really trying to find the best way to say that, and it's really hard to highlight faults when you're not playing your best people. And yeah, I don't know. I can't say that I have one for this one just because of that factor. It just doesn't highlight our negatives well enough.
Yeah, really the only thing I had for this was, clean it up. He had 3 blue cards. You killed 2 of the penalties. Pretty good. I'll take it. 2 out of 3. It would have been nice to get 3 out of 3, but hey, it's what it is. And of course, Dominic Francis was involved on the power play goal, so no surprise there. And they did. They cleaned it up. All the penalty cards against Kansas City were yellows, so we never had to go a man down.
Right.
And
then they all came at once.
That's really all I have. I cleaned it up.
Yep.
And that brings us to a positive takeaway, which, depth is really what you got.
That was easy.
Depth. You had 2 goals from Jace. You had 2 goals from Alava, who, yes, he plays every game, but he's not often involved at the offensive end. He's picked that up lately, which is great.
Absolutely.
Julian showed that if the defense is solid, he can compete at this level, and he's still young and has plenty to learn. But not a bad game at all. And
although he did start to lock up towards the end. That's why Brian went in, because they were massaging him at one point, trying to, keep the muscles.
Yeah, a little bit of cramping.
Keep the muscles from locking up, and then he ended up cramping, and that's why we had Wilkin in for the last 6 minutes.
Okay, so we got to work on some hydration.
Yes, he's got to work on some hydration, some endurance, but yes, definitely hydration. So keep drinking that water, or whatever you got in there. Just drink more of it.
Yeah, that was a solid road win over a team that you should have beaten. Beat the teams you're supposed to, and brought us to Sunday, where the world was shocked when we found out that not only was Coughlin not playing due to injury, Gordy, he was listed as doubtful, but there was some hope he could go.
Yep.
And you sat him again, so he's missed 7 games on the season now.
Yeah, he's been out for he's been this season's Logan.
Kind of, yeah. Great when they're there. And it came up to we put Brian Wilkin in goal to start this one. And
the brick wall.
Look, I'll be honest, knowing our defense, no Coughlin, the way things went in Milwaukee and Tacoma, you kind of prepared yourself for the worst on Sunday. And then this team came out and performed in the best way possible. I mean, Brian played out of his mind. Once again, the defense stepped up, and Utica came out of it with a 7-3 victory.
You forgot one very important person.
Yes.
Keaton freaking Woods. That man ran out of his mind. Like, you had Wilkin in goal that was just saving everything that came his way, just about. Keaton was a man possessed out there. I mean, he got so many takeaways. I was saying to one of our friends in the stands, I'm like, whoever's doing their footwork drills needs a raise, because some of the footwork that we saw out there, especially just the improvement of Keaton specifically, but it was not just him. I mean,
well, no, we mentioned last week,
Esox always had a
Keaton's fast, and something looked off last week where he was getting beat off the ball, getting beat defensively, and then in the 2 games this week, it looked like he had. You're an anime fan. I'm an anime fan. It looked like Goku taking off the training weights in the middle of a match. You know what I mean? Just the speed all of a sudden doubled from last week.
He used the Kaioken! Sorry. I just went with it. Had to go with it. Just going to nerd out here, and everyone's just like, yep, done. Turn it off.
But that's the best thing I could compare it to. It looked like he was running in quicksand or had training weights dragging behind him last week. And then this week he was at full speed.
Yep.
And torching everybody.
Yep. Absolutely everyone. No quarter was shown by Keaton. Don't you give me lame.
Let's talk stats.
But yeah, no.
Yes. I'm sure you have one that tells the story. I know I have one that tells the story. And I think there are 2 really obvious ones. So let's see if we get both of those.
What do you think mine is? Who do you think mine is?
It's Brickwall Brian.
Brickwall Brian. 80%. 80%. 12 for 15 saves. Wow. And I mean, these were not easy. These were not easy saves. Watching what came at him. I mean, he was all over the place, diving, jumping around, diving on the ball. I mean, he threw himself at everything. And the stuff that did get by him, stupid chip shots.
A lucky header.
So
just the ball kind of bouncing to the right place.
Yeah.
Yeah.
But yeah, no, just fantastic performance. Yeah, his save percentage, 1,000% has to be my stat. No question.
All right, yeah, no, I agree. He was by far, if not the best, one of the best players on the tour. There's a reason he got first star.
Oh yeah. He well deserved.
my stat goes to the defense again. Because I think we both agree. Defense here in both these games this weekend did something great. And the key to this one, for one Mr. Zach Reggett, who came in with, 21 goals on the season? Third in the league.
And he stayed there.
He was held completely scoreless. No goals, no assists. He only managed 5 shots on goal. And, he was a presumptive front runner for MVP 5 games ago. And then...
Yeah. Oh, yeah. He's having a great season.
Things fell apart. The wheels came off for Kansas City.
Mm-hmm. No, this was easily one of the most defensive games that I think Utica's played to date this season. I mean, it was and you can see it in the score up until the fourth quarter. The fact that towards the end of the third, it's only 3-3, and that, number one, that only just happened at that time. And the fact that, Utica didn't come out to some lead, and there weren't, our defense wasn't just letting everything by, basically. You could just see how much of a defensive game this was, just looking at the score and the fact that it was so low. I was going to say, did I freeze?
Yeah, I don't know what's going on. OBS dropped, and now it's back.
Yeah, because you froze for me, so I was like...
I don't get it. It drops. It'll be at like 10,000 kbps and then drop to 0. What are you...
That's just a signal drop.
Yeah, which... We'll get that figured out.
We'll work that out. All right. Let's get back to it.
No, there were stretches of this game where Kansas City had the ball and possessed it for 2-3 minutes at a time. And Utica held their own very well.
Yes, they did.
Very well. If they play like that defensively the rest of the year, there's no reason that we can't contend for a championship.
100%. I mean, that's just... We have been very conservative when it comes to the defense because in our minds, there's not much there. There's definitely not much depth there. So, I mean, the fact that we didn't have, it was a little worrying that we didn't have, Mo on Friday.
And then missed him for 10 minutes on Sunday.
And then missed him for 10 minutes on Sunday, yeah. But it didn't matter. Our defense picked up the slack. And, yeah, this was just a great weekend for the Utica's defense, highlighting what they can do with we'll say the small amount of resources that they have. Quality over quantity in this case.
Yeah, it was fantastic. Again, Alava on the best stretch of his life that we've seen. Logan, I mean, this is the player that I thought we were going to see headed into 1920. And then injuries. And then more injuries after COVID. And then more injuries last season. And we're seeing what he can do healthy. And it is fantastic.
So, a little stat just for you. If it were not for the game right before this, which was the Comets versus the Savage, if it weren't for that game, the last time that Reggett was held to without any goals was last season against us, April 10th. So that would have been
playoff game.
The play-in game.
Yep.
So that's the last time, besides the Comets and Savage, that he was held completely scoreless for this entire season.
Yeah, in his last 3 games against Utica, he's been held to 2 goals. And they came at KC. On the blue turf at the Odd, he's been held scoreless in 2 straight games.
Yep.
And
so
fun.
Good job, guys.
Yeah. Your play that changed this game.
Okay. So I'll hold myself to one, but because there's one that set the tone, and there's a second one that I think gave us breathing room and made me feel 1,000 times better about this game. So I'll go with the second one first, which is Esox. Esox is the one that put us out by 2. I literally had just got done talking to somebody about if we can get out by 2, and Slide was like, okay, yep, this is in full swing. But I got to take it to this one because that at least bought us that breathing room, bought us that 2-goal lead that kind of took the pressure off. And that heavy weight of like, oh, these guys can come right back. You know, they can be back within 1, or they can be back tied up with us like that. So to me, that goal was like, you know, taking the lid off of the pressure cooker, and just relieving the pressure of not only the fans but the team.
Yeah, no, I was going to take that one. I think that's the most obvious one. Yes.
Oh, you were going to take the Esox one. I thought that was the most
obvious one. All right. Instead, I'll go with the Frank Tayu goal. That made it 3-1. That gave us that, okay, we're starting to pull away. And we saw those next 2 goals by Leo Gibson where, like, they weren't like, oh, we got dominated. They were like, all right, you got lucky. You know, ball bounced to the right place. The ball, off the wall, hit his head. And then just some of those goals where you're like, okay, right place, right time. But not one where you're like, oh my God, I can't believe the defense gave that up. So even at 3-3, it didn't really feel like the game was slipping away. And that
right, agreed. No, it really didn't. It was like, hey, they caught up
and
to us.
And that Frank goal, it really got the Odd into it. He had the double step over, and then he went 5-hole on Neto. Just classic Frank Tayu.
Yeah, for sure.
Pardon me.
Sorry, it was a bit laggy for me, so I was like, I didn't want to interrupt you, so I was trying to wait until you were done on my screen before I tried to chime in. But yes, the Tayu goal was definitely important in my mind, because it was another basically one-on-one, just about. And I know a lot of people are still very much not in Frank's corner.
Which I do want to talk about after
like there's still
these, because that's part of that mid-season recap.
Okay.
He's the big addition in the offseason. We gotta
I'll wait.
But that goal was big.
Yes. But I mean, so just so that I can get it out there, honestly, both of Keaton's goals were highlights. His first one, I mean, really, both of them were basically like a steal into a goal. And the first one set the tone. The second one, that quick response, well, not even a response, just that quick follow-up to the one we had right before it. I mean, both of those just really were a punch to the gut
it's
for
one
Kansas
thing
City.
If you get hit. It's another when you get 3 quick body blows. 3 goals in 47 seconds in the fourth quarter. That's going to demoralize any team.
I feel like we've done that before.
I feel like we've been on the wrong end of it, too.
I feel like we've done 3 goals in
Quite
45 seconds before. Yes, we have. We have, but we've been on the right end of it, too.
I guess we should mention that we're talking about all the good stuff in this one. I'm going to take my positive takeaways here. Or actually, we should do the negative first, because I like to end on the positive note. So, what needs to change after this game? Yeah.
Ooh.
Yeah.
Ooh. Do I get to go first? Sweet. Stop dribbling it in front of the goal, Nelly.
Not just Nelly, but yes. Yes. Let's not carry the ball across our goal face.
But he's notorious for it.
Oh, heart attack every time. Just let's try to play it across the goal face less. Yeah, I can agree with that.
Let's just try to, not play in front of the goal. Let's go over that way, or let's go that way, but not that way. Anyway. I just had to get that out.
You're good. For me, it's more. Let's clean it up. This time, language-wise, guys. I don't know about the second yellow card. I don't know what Mo said on that one to get it, but the first one. That was obviously coming. Because from our corner, you could read his lips. And if you were a little closer to the field, I'm sure you could have heard him say something along lines of, starts with F, ends with uck, and it's not fire truck.
No, it's not. He said a bad word.
Yeah. Gotta clean that language up. We got a bench misconduct, which just means somebody on the bench said something that the officials didn't like, and so they had to assign it to the bench because they couldn't identify who said it.
Yep.
Otherwise,
the fact that we came out of this game with just that, just those cards. I mean, all I'm gonna say is, because I'm sure that you want to bring this up separately. Do they know that they had blue cards?
I don't know if they do. We kind of saw some weird officiating all around the league yesterday, where it was like, hey, let's go to the review and not know what we're doing here. And once again, one of them involved the head of officiating, so we have a ton of confidence right now that things are being taught well.
Oh, yeah. Yeah, that game. Anyway. The first one. Oh, okay. So it wasn't exactly. All right.
Positive takeaways. I just want to talk milestones. I posted them already on social media. Nelson Santana got his 100th and 101st points of his career. Congratulations. He is now 4 goals away from 50 for his career. We already mentioned the first career win. This was Wilkins' first win since 2022.
Yep.
Excuse me.
He's dying. He's so happy. He's ecstatic. And so he's just...
And Nilton, that goal with 7 seconds left, or 9 seconds left, which if you watch the replay, was a laser that goes in against almost any goalkeeper in this league. 6 attacker or not, I don't care.
Yeah.
That was finding upper net. That was his 25th career goal, and he now has the lead on the team with 13 goals on the season.
Let's go.
Yeah, we said he was snubbed last year in the Rookie of the Year contention. Not saying he should have won it, but should have been on the poll. And
absolutely
is just having more of a breakout season this year. Yeah.
Nope, he's doing good for us, and we love to see it. We love to see it.
All right, let's have your positive takeaway.
So I think, unlike the last one, where still feel bad saying this, but against a lesser opponent, this one for sure was a highlight for the defense and for Wilkin. Our back half of the field was out freaking standing, and it showed with how much they were able to shut them down from doing most anything. I mean, the fact that they didn't even get 20 shots on Wilkin says volumes, because they had a lot of possession time, and we didn't let them do anything with it. So that's big in my mind. Now, again, we still had a lot of great stuff on offense. But I really, if I have to highlight anything, it's got to be the defense. You know, it's got to be the Juana Lavas, of course, Brian Wilkin. Logan had a fantastic game. You know, even people that aren't on defense, you know, Isak was playing great for us. But I mean, Mo, it was so nice to have him back on the field. And it was fantastic to watch him. But just everybody played a fantastic game. And when I say the defense, I don't mean just the people that have defense in their position, but everyone that played defense was on point. So kudos to this team for what they were able to do and stop on defense.
Yeah, no, like we said, if this defense plays like that the rest of the year, put the league on notice. Yeah, Huber, to what you're saying, Belliard has been playing pretty well these past couple games. He's definitely adapting to the league well.
Yep.
And, well, that's
it's easy to spot.
Look for the gloves.
Look for the gloves that aren't the keeper.
All right.
You have shrunk. You are the shrunken head now.
I haven't even closed Skype or anything. It's still the same window. Hold on. How did I do this? Why are you shrinking? Okay, hey, that's great. You can come back now.
Okay.
OBS, why are you doing this to me?
You just don't know how to use it.
Probably. All right.
I agree with that statement.
Yes, let's hope this defense shows up against the Wave and the Flash.
Yes.
All right, mid-season recap time. Slightly past the halfway point because we got in a 13th game this weekend. Utica stands at 10-2-1. A vast difference from where we were last year. With 30 points, we are in second place in the East. They've opened up a first round. Excuse me. Goal differential of 30 in our favor. 108 goals. You heard none of that. OBS.
I hear you. I hear you right now, but it was just like
I do not know what is going on with OBS. YouTube is not. YouTube is not what?
That's why I was like, I'm not going to be able to respond to this.
I don't know what's going on.
I mean, now you're good.
I don't need a highlight video, thank you.
Can you do that again?
Yeah, 10-2-1 at the half, just after the halfway point of the season. Far better than the past. 30-point goal differential. 30 points on the field, 30-point goal differential. 5-point lead over...
Vast difference.
5-point lead over Milwaukee for the number 2 spot. We trail Monterey by 7 points.
Yep.
We do have a chance to catch up to them a little bit when we face them later in February on our home turf.
Yep. Hand them their first loss.
It very well could be a possibility at that point. Utica is 6-2 on the road. Our only 2 road those 2 were Milwaukee and Tacoma. We do have one more game at Milwaukee to finally try to crack through and win at Panther Arena.
I'll get my pickaxe.
4-0-1 at home. So we still have 7 home games to get to, including the one this weekend against the Blast, which we'll talk about in a bit.
Yay!
Things look well at the moment. Everything... Unfortunately, we've lost Nate for the season. Do we know what he actually had to have the procedure on? Then, it's still just lower and vague, and it'd be nice, like, oh, he needed his knee cleaned up, ankle surgery, just to have an idea.
Yeah. No, so here's my thought on losing Nate for the season. We didn't have Nate this season to begin with. It would be different if he had played. And this isn't a knock against him at all. So don't take it that way. But if he had been on the field and we had, his presence had been felt on the turf, that would have been one thing. To lose him officially lose him at this point in the season. But given the fact that he has not been on the field, yes, we know what he's capable of. We've seen it plenty of times. But that being said, it doesn't change anything for the team makeup on the field by losing him officially. So it's not nearly as bad of a blow as it could have been. And I think we're fortunate that it worked out the way it did.
Yeah. Yeah, I agree, obviously, that it's not as much of an impact having reached this point without him. That said, boy, some of those early games, it would have been nice to see a little bit more distribution, some level-headed, the team's getting there. They're starting to balance out a little bit more than they were early in the season.
Yeah.
I think Hundelt has started to come into that captain role a little bit more every game.
Agreed.
And it's still a loss that hurts.
Of course. I'm not trying to take away from it.
They did move him from the roster to the assistant coach role, the same thing we saw with Timmy last year, so that he may remain on the bench. And around the team indefinitely.
Right.
Which,
as he should, because he can still provide some valuable insight and things like that.
Just because he's not leading on the field doesn't mean he can't lead in other ways.
Right.
So we got about 7 minutes left for anyone that's looking to bid on those jerseys. They're all still sitting at $210. Just throwing it out there.
It's so tempting.
With the auction on Live Source, if you're not aware, if a bid is placed within the final minute, the clock resets to 1 minute and keeps going until somebody bows out. So it's not like eBay where you can throw in a high bid at the last second and hopefully win and try to snipe it.
So put away the sniper scope.
But back to the mid-season wrap-up. After a slow start, Frank Tayu now leads the team in points. He is tied for the team lead in assists as well. He's top 10 in the league in points. He's tied for third in the league with 12 assists.
Yep.
And he's tied with Nilton for team lead in fouls. And I still think it's fair to say that there are fans that expect more from Frank, and I fully understand that.
Mm-hmm.
His 1.8 points per game would be his lowest in a long time. And we'll talk about that a little more, because there are other people to highlight here at the midway point. As mentioned, Nilton has taken over the team lead in goals with 13. His 21 points are second highest on the team. Keaton, 12 goals, tied with Ronnie for third most goals on the team. They both have 12.
Mm-hmm.
The only thing separating them is Keaton has 8 assists to Ronnie's 7. Breakout years for these guys.
Oh, yeah, absolutely.
Taylor Walter Bond picked up where he left off after last year. A rejuvenated player in Everton Moreira's system. Steven Fernandez has stepped up. Logan has looked better than he has in a couple years. Gordy.
Yeah. He's lasted more than a few games.
Gordy, in the 6 games he's been out there, he's collected 6 goals and 3 assists. Hopefully he gets healthy for the second half, because there are some big games that we definitely want him out there for.
Yes.
Pardon.
Oh, God, he's coughing again. Somebody stop him. I ain't covering you this time. No. Yeah, you drink that.
I will. And for the ASMR people, enjoy that crisp sound.
Oh, yeah.
Steve, I'm not sure how many of the goals have been assisted by Frank to Nilton off the top of my head. But I know a good share of goals have been assisted both ways between Ronnie and Frank. Like, put them on the same line.
Yep. Oh, yeah. Yeah, I definitely have to go back and look to see what exactly, like, how many different interactions there have been between, like, Frank and who. Because, I mean, he does have quite a bit of assists for us.
I skipped right by him. Mo NDI, 5th on the team in points. His 12 assists, again, tied for the team lead. 3rd in the league. Missed a couple of games, but he has been, crucial at distributing the ball out of the back this year and on set pieces.
Yep. Yeah. That was one thing that we definitely missed in the Harrisburg game, was just his distributions. And so in this game, I mean, it was so in the Kansas City game, I mean, you just yes.
Yeah, they were without David Ortiz, but we were without Gordy and Mo. And boy, if both those teams are at 100%, we already had a heck of a game. That game gets even more
been a barn burner. Yep.
We've seen some good rookies break in. Belliard getting more comfortable with this game, coming from the futsal world, playing without walls. Yes. Cole Stevens, 5 goals and 3 assists in 8 games. Jace Berger, he got those 2 goals.
He's doing it again! I have nothing to pick up either. He leaves me nothing.
Well, I can't determine when my body's going to be like, hey, phlegm. Isak returned from injury. immediately gets a goal in this first one.
Listen, he was great to watch on the M2 squad. Being able to see him come back on a field for us, so much better.
We haven't seen Rafa in a while, but in the couple games he was out there, impact player.
Well, I know he was on M2 yesterday. That was cool. Didn't know that was going to happen.
Hundelt we talked about, but has been stepping into that leadership role that he's kind of thrust into due to the injury to Nate. Gio Alves has played every game this year, from a spot starter last year to a third line every game kind of player. Good to see. He's the sixth attacker when we need him.
Yes.
I feel like I'm just going down everyone. Alava, we talked about, has been on fire. Timmy Goldman has a couple games. Only played a few games, but he's got 3 points in 4 games.
The fact that you have to touch on every single player isn't necessarily, number one, it's not an issue. Number two, that just highlights that this season has been a team effort. It is not just one person putting up all the numbers. It's not like Frank came in and completely took control and all of a sudden everything's just feeding through him and we're completely reliant on him. And that's what I don't think people see is that and I'm probably stealing your thunder and I'm sorry, but he is not the center of our offense. He is a part of our offense. And so the fact that everything's not funneling through him, number one, teams are terrified of him. You can see that because every time he's on the field, and he has the ball, he's getting double teamed.
All right, auctions have come to an end.
Nobody else bid? They stayed at 210?
Only one of them changed, and that was Frank Tayu going all the way to 240. Everyone else stayed at 210.
Wow.
We got talking and I forgot to come back in bed. Oopsie. Oh well.
Listen, that happened to me with the Christmas jerseys because I was sitting there and I was for the Harrisburg game. I was sitting there and playing a video game and I'm just like playing along and I'm like, oh no, the jersey auction's still going. And I checked and it was over and I was sad because I lost Joey's by $5. So, and it's like, yeah, I know I could get a Joey jersey if I really wanted it. But not even the game worn thing, but just it's the Christmas jersey.
Well, that was the thing. It's like, it's the Riggy's jersey and I'm a cook. Come on.
Yeah. Come on.
Let's quick mention second half schedule and then we can talk about the Frank of it all. We got 11 games left. Only 4 of them are against teams with winning records at the moment. Our next 2 are against Baltimore. We play them Sunday, have a bye week, and then travel down to Baltimore after Valentine's Day.
What am I supposed to do on a bye week? Like, I'm going to be bored.
I tipped off Timmy that weekend is the Winter Carnival up in Saranac Lake and is the largest party in the Adirondacks for any time of year. So if you like ice castles, parades, the theme is Creepy Carnival, and it's basically an excuse for everyone that spends the winter frozen in the Adirondacks to come out and have a good time and get drunk.
If you drink. If you're legal to drink.
And if you're like me and don't drink, you just socialize and like I'm gonna I put in for the time off, hopefully I get it. If I do, my best thing is going to be that Kate is terrified of clowns, and with a creepy clown carnival we're just gonna have to give her all the anxiety meds. She will have to be so drugged up that it will be funny.
Yuck. Socializing. I don't want to do that. That's just gross.
not send clowns to 212.
But that's also the Super Bowl weekend, so I mean, you could do that.
Yeah. If you care. It's the other football.
So Baltimore. Then the day after we play Baltimore on their tiny field, we return home to play Milwaukee, which makes that game, which was already going to be tough, a lot tougher. You're playing on less than 24 hours rest with a large portion of it spent in a van driving from Baltimore.
Yep. Just make sure you get... never mind.
Get in time. The following week, the Flash come to town, which we'll see how their schedule looks. But at the moment, they still remain undefeated. They've gone to overtime a couple times. Won both of them. They were both at Milwaukee. Texas played them to a 1-goal game at Texas. Come on, MASL website.
I know they play Tacoma, and then they play the Strikers. They play the Strikers the same day we play Baltimore.
And then
but beyond that,
they play. We catch them at the end of a 2-game weekend. So they play Tacoma, the Strikers. Then they have a bye the same week as us. Then Tacoma goes down there. Then they travel up to Harrisburg to play there on a Friday. And then that Sunday is when they play us.
Okay.
As things stand, no question, Monterey is the best team in the league, I don't think. They have manhandled every team, pretty much, that they've played in at least one game. It's going to be a true test. I'm looking forward to it. It's Sunday, February 25th at 3:05. That's going to be a fun one at the Odd.
Bring your running legs.
Yes.
Utica, that's what we're going to need to do because they can run.
They get Baltimore, Milwaukee, Kansas City. Unfortunately, the Milwaukee and Kansas City, we go to theirs for the third game. We don't get the pleasure of seeing them twice on our own turf.
Okay.
Then we have 3 straight home games with a final game against Harrisburg, which thankfully is still another 6-7 weeks away. So we can get a nice breather.
A nice break.
Then back-to-back games, a Saturday night and Sunday at home against the Ambush. Excuse me. And
the Ambuns.
That's only relevant if you remember their issue that they had last season.
And it will never leave my mind. It's free. It's living in my mind rent free.
2 years ago at this point.
Doesn't matter.
And then Utica
doesn't matter.
Utica finishes up the season at Baltimore.
Yes.
So 4 games.
And I'm not saying yes because I'm not saying it that way because it's Baltimore. That's not at all what it is.
You're saying because boy, it would be nice to send Baltimore into the off season with a loss, knowing that they can't make the playoffs.
No, it's because I got to drive down there.
Oh, you're going?
Yes.
You can wear your Riggies jersey. You'll blend right in.
I know, I'll blend in. That's the plan. And then after the first goal, it's like, surprise! Yeah. Got my Utica jersey on underneath. Incognita.
Yeah, like I said, 7 games at home. That Monterey Flash one's probably the one I'm most excited to see. But Milwaukee is absolutely going to test us. You want to bring it back even after the way things went the first game. the March 8th game at Milwaukee, you would really like to win because we've been there a lot over the past few seasons. Not a lot, but like 5 times now since moving to Utica, and 0 wins. So I'd like to get that into at least a 1.
Just get rid of that goose egg. I know. I would love it too. Well, it's been a long time coming.
Another game at Kansas City. Another battle of the blue turf. We've already won the season series, but a sweep is always sweet. How things could be shaping up for the playoffs and how important those points will be.
Yep.
That's our second half. Anything you'd like to say about it?
We got some tough games coming. It's definitely not like the first half of the season where it was just we knew what we were getting into after the first couple games. So it's going to be a tough stretch. Some tougher than others, but we've seen what this team can do, both home and away. They can be contenders, and they're going to need to bring it. Plain and simple. We've got a tough road ahead, but I believe that these guys can bring us home some wins. Not all of them, but they're going to fight for the ones that even the ones they don't get. I can see it now.
Yeah. All right. Let's talk about the Frank. Let's be frank about the Taiyu situation.
Yes.
And that is?
I think we need to be.
All right, as mentioned, he's got 11 goals, 12 assists. Both the 23 points lead the team. The 11 goals are like third or fourth on the team. The third on the team. The 12 assists are most on the team. That's the positive. The negative is his 1.8 goals per game is the lowest of his career since 2014-15. His shot percentage of 186 is the lowest it's ever been. And his 30 fouls put him on pace to have the highest number of fouls in his career. Oh, look. 2 of us can have some issues with our nasal capacity respiratory system.
Don't make me leave.
I
had to sneeze. I am sorry. Yeah, serves you right.
I think there are 2 sides of this argument, and they're both right. Yes, we would like to see more out of Frank. Absolutely.
Of course. We would say that about any player.
When you trade for a 4-time MVP, a guy that's been to the finals 4 times, hasn't cracked through, and for his career is averaging over 2.5 points a game, you're looking for a little more finding of the net.
You're looking for your stick so you can just be like, do something. Do something. Yeah. And I get that from
yes.
some people.
And I understand it. And I'm not saying they're wrong. But his 12 assists at this point are 6 off of his career high. And there are 11 games to play.
Yep.
They're tied for 3rd in the league. Now, if he repeats this second half and has a, 22 22 goal, 24 assists, somewhere where they're both in between like 20 and 25, and finishes with 40 to 50 points. Are you going to call that a disappointing season?
I'm not one of the ones that's disappointed in him.
Look, I would say I could see calling that a disappointing. 46 points, that's a little low, you know. He did that in 21-22 when the Fury collapsed. The then Fury collapsed.
Mm-hmm. Yeah. I don't know. I just see, for me, I get the argument. I get why people want to be seeing more from him because, number one, of who we traded for him. You know, we got rid of fan favorite with Steph. You know, Q definitely has built up rapport on this team with the fans. And so, you know, I know that there's a lot of bad blood there with the fact that, you know, they're not here, he is. And some people are still not very happy about that from that perspective. There's a lot of people that, you know, expect to be seeing more from him. I still, to the people that would that expect more, fair. But I look at the stat sheet and I look at the spread and I say again what I mentioned earlier. It's a team effort and it shows. And he has gone out of his way to distribute versus trying to score himself. We've seen it, and we've seen it backfire. Like, he's trying to be a team player. Maybe that's what he's been told to do. But he has 100% tried to distribute a lot of times versus actually taking the shot himself. Do I think that every once in a while that it's like, hey, why did you distribute it? Just take the shot. Well, we don't see from his. You're muted.
Oh yeah, I had to cough. Just saying, like, wield that mighty scepter, do your king thing.
Yeah, just rip one in there instead of passing it away. Oh, we've seen a lot of our other team members do that too. We've seen a lot of people just, instead of ripping it themselves, pass it away to try and get that better angle. And I get that. And I'm fine with that for the most part. Yeah, Steph's only 10 goals, 7 assists. So, I mean, now granted, they did kind of transition him from a defensive player to offensively. So, I mean, it wasn't an initial thing. But, yeah, I mean, Frank is still leading this team in points. People say he's not doing anything. You know, they expect more from him. He's still leading the team. And you think he's not doing anything. Like, it blows my mind.
I think a big thing, not just the change of the role from being the focal point of the offense to one of the heads of a many-headed hydra would be the best way to describe this, in my mind.
I knew that's where you were going, and I love it. Because now I just picture a blue hydra with a bunch of soccer, with all of the different players on their heads. I hate it. I hate that picture's in my head, and it's welcome. Your fault.
What was I about to say? It's okay. So part of that is the foul situation. Is we are watching him get played differently in the East than they played him in the West. And we've talked about this when it came to how we would handle a Reggett or Ian Bennett this year, or Nick Pereira. And they are treating him like they treat Ian Bennett and Reggett here in the East, which is double team, man mark, and try to make the rest of the team beat you. In the West, and because of my schedule, I got to watch a decent number of Empire games over the past couple years. They played him in a way that was more of a we will make you beat us. You know what I mean? They let Frank get his own and tried to lock down the other guys.
Yeah. Instead of... They did what we tried to do with Milwaukee. Funnel everything through Ian for that game. And in the West, when... I got the hiccups now. When Frank was over there, yes, you're right. They were basically saying, we're going to make you funnel everything through Frank, and we're not going to let any of your other players do anything else. Now it's the opposite, where he's getting locked down every single game because people are afraid. Plain and simple. I mean, you can't put it any other way. They are afraid to leave him alone because he will produce. Now, granted, the penalty shot, that one hurt. But he did make up for it with that one-on-one with Neto, going through the legs. That was sweet. So, yeah, I just, it's a different mindset in the East, and it is a different mindset on this team where, again, he's not the focal point. No one really is the focal point. And that's because we have so many different weapons on the front line and the back line, really. I mean, look at what Nelly did. Nelly ripped one, and he's barely ever in the offensive third. So, yeah, it's a different mindset. It's, hey, we have a lot of people who can score. He's one of them. So be wary of him, but you can double team him all day, and all of these other people are just going to put it in your goal.
Yeah. No, it's they're playing, like we said, playing him differently, and he's kind of just you can tell when he's forcing it, and he gets frustrated. And then when he just remembers that he doesn't have to carry this team as much as he had to with some of those Empire teams in the past, he relaxes, and then the goals and the assists come.
Yes.
So we'll.
He is a contributing member of the team versus the team. And I'm not saying that the Empire is nothing without him, because obviously I'm an Empire fan. They are my team in the West that I support, and so that's not a hidden thing. I don't hide it at all, but it was just a different mindset and a different mindset in that division versus this one. So, and just again, team makeup. But I'm reiterating.
Yeah, he got shut down that first game of the year, and we talked about how that barely happens. He's collected a point in 11 of the next 12, and he has points in 8 straight matches, with goals in 7 of those 8. So while he's not having massive games, he is constantly part of this offense and the wins and the lot,
Yeah. He's a talking point. He is
he's 16 goals away from 400 for his career. And if you told me that he had that by the end of the season, I would not be shocked.
No, not at all. Not at all.
For now, the grade on this trade is incomplete, but he has absolutely helped open up this offense, even if we would still like to see a little bit more out of him.
Yes, we would love to see more out of him, but he is a valued member of this squad.
Yes. All right. I think that covers everything midseason. The Frank question. I don't want to get into the officials. I don't. Let's just say that Harrisburg was fairly well reffed. When I saw Kadlacek and Brian Martin. Sorry, that is offensive to get your name wrong. I did not mean to sully you in such a way, sir. No, that was a fairly well refereed game. In Sunday's game, I don't know. Not terrible. I would have liked to have seen some blue cards just to keep things from getting as chippy as they did there at a point. But then once things opened up, it didn't matter.
There was some that could have been called on us. There was definitely some that could have been called on KC. It was just a very physical game. But you know what? We're not going to get into it here, but we definitely didn't have the worst one.
No, that belongs to a certain head of officials and a rule that we talked about last week on. And you could go back and watch that episode. I quote the rule verbatim and mentioned how a certain player in Texas should have been given a yellow card for this violation. And then the head of officials, who apparently hasn't read the rule book, made the same mistake that we saw from the worst officiating duel in the league. So, great confidence in them. And I am sorry to the Tacoma announcers who are probably going to get fined for calling out the officiating for being as bad as it was. If somehow you hear this, reach out. We'll Venmo you like $20 to help. I don't know, man. Like, somebody needs to hold these guys accountable, and the league's not doing it.
All I'm going to say on the subject is people were talking so much smack about the announcers, but they were right.
Mm-hmm.
And I stand with them. So that's all I'm going to say on this subject.
Probably. Anything else for the mid-season stuff?
No.
Peanut Gallery.
I think I'm good. I think I'm dandy.
That's great.
I mean, listen. We did have one at home, finally. So we got to say it. It was great. It felt nice. But, yeah.
Okay. On to Sunday. Baltimore comes to town. They aren't
Santa
doing too hot this season.
They are having a bad season. They are definitely not the Baltimore that we are used to. In the few seasons that we've had Utica as a team, this is easily the worst shape that we have seen them in. And that's not a dig from a Utica fan to Baltimore. It's a fact.
They're missing pieces just like every team is in this league thanks to visa issues. I forgot to check in on that court case that started last week for the Gianni case.
That will definitely be a very interesting thing to watch under review. I guarantee you that will be the center of under review because of what happened.
Oh,
sorry,
just
reading the chat.
Too many criminal. Yeah, the trial was for January 24th. How did the trial go? Unless the date was changed. I'll dig into that off the live. Duel of the Fates there. Yeah.
Lost your train of thought?
Yeah, Baltimore. They are struggling. They're 4-5-1. As we mentioned, they just lost in Harrisburg, which they did all 3 times last year. And there's some unrest among the fan base. I don't know if you've poked into their page at all, just to have a little schadenfreude. But you have fans calling for the coach to be replaced.
I'm not kicking them while they're down.
I'm just enjoying the fans suffering.
That's just as bad.
Look, I deal with it as a Yankees fan when we're bad. I understand what they're going through. I have been, I get it. At the same time, it's still kind of enjoyable to watch a team implode. Especially when you have to hear about how many championships they've won and how they beat us in the playoffs every year. It's like, well, this year, you got to get to the playoffs to win in the playoffs. And they are on the outside looking in. 10 points behind Kansas City. And those 2 teams play Friday at Towson Arena.
Yep. I will say this. Kind of off the topic. On the topic, but off the topic. I will watch more games and enjoy them on Twitch. Leave Gio and Brad making announcements. I enjoyed that game so much better. Like, they did a great job. I actually enjoyed watching that game because I felt like they gave level commentary, and I'm putting that out there. I enjoyed a Baltimore cast.
Which,
Just
yeah,
saying.
if you haven't ever watched one before, that is an impressive thing to hear.
So I gotta give the shout out when it's deserved, and it's deserved.
Yeah, no,
So,
I didn't get
just
to
had to
hear
get that
any
point
of it.
across.
I didn't watch that game because I was working, but all the reviews tended to be well. They are.
Their 4 wins, just so that you know, come from St. Louis, 2 from Harrisburg, and 1 from Empire. So those are the teams that they have beaten as of now.
And so they won 3 at home, and that was Ambush and the 2 Harrisburg games. And they don't do well away, which they didn't do well away from last year. This team struggles away from the smaller field. I'm looking for a Utica like 7-3, 7-4, It'll be interesting to see who they put in goal because they keep going back and forth between Zierhofer and I'm drawing a blank on the other guy's name, my bad.
How
Quantrell Jones.
dare you? Quantrell Jones.
I couldn't think of his first name. I'm like, Jones. No, not Dave Jones. That's this guy I know. No, not Dan Jones. That's his dad.
Not Indiana Jones. Yeah.
I know a whole Jones family, so I was going through all the wrong Joneses in my head.
Yeah, no, they do actually have a pretty good spread of minutes. I mean, Zierhofer's got 354 minutes, and Quantrell Jones has got 238. So, I mean, a fairly good spread. Like, they're giving them both time. They're trying to give them not necessarily equal minutes, but a good amount of minutes between the two.
Well, you know what they say. If you have 2 goalkeepers, you don't have any goalkeepers. You
Yeah.
really need that number 1.
Yeah. Number 1. Well, they do have number 1. Quattrell Jones is number 1. Come on,
Yeah, I
man.
know.
You set me up for that.
You
set me up for that.
And I'm.
So don't you give me no crap about
We
it.
know this.
You deserve that one.
What's your prediction? We're at like an hour and a half here. We got to try to wrap this up.
Okay. I'm sorry. All right. So here's how I see it. I agree with your 3. Because if we bring that defensive squad that we've had, it's our only game this weekend, so we don't have to worry about being on tired legs, which we 100% were on Sunday, because you could see it at the end of the second quarter when we were just playing for time. But then we got our second wind at the end of the game. So that being said, if we can bring that defensive squad and have those people available and be able to prevent the quick counterattacks that can easily happen in Baltimore, which would mean potentially leaving someone like Nelly back, playing much further back than normal. I was going to say, a 9-3. Like, I wasn't going to necessarily give us 10 digits down there, but it's definitely possible. But I'll pull it back a little bit, kind of keep it a little conservative, a little close to the chest, and we're going to go a 9-3. But I want to see a dominant game from Utica.
Well,
because the Blast they never count them out. That's all I'm going to say. Never count them out. Don't go in expecting a win. Go in hungry for a win, ready to fight for another win.
Yeah, let's kick off the second half with 2 straight wins.
I'll take it.
Brandon, anything else you want to add tonight? Okay.
There, I remembered it.
I'm sorry I didn't give you a chance to use the new button that you put in. Okay.
I'll save it.
Oh, right, you didn't hear it. Sorry, Peanut Gallery was confused, so I guess I'll mention it. That one heckle that I had right before a goal was scored, that was directed...
SpongeBob?
Yeah, that one.
You know the one that I have on my phone?
Oh, yeah, she has video.
Not doing it.
Yes.
Oh, of course.
Brandon?
Oh.
I'm on it.
I'm okay. I saw it in person.
He says he's okay. He saw it in person. I guess we'll explain it. Sure.
You want to take us home? Yeah,
I was on top of my game with the heckles yesterday, in my opinion. From discount Bond villain to the Titan submersible. I was just coming for him. But right after Utica goes up 4-3, and just before Isak scores, just, hey, Nato, I bet they call you SpongeBob because your defense is full of holes.
And then we scored.
And then we scored. And did you see where Isak scored on him? He went 5-hole.
I was going to say, yeah.
Mm-hmm. I tried telling Neto in the first half. He probably didn't hear me because he was at the far end, but he needed to read his Bible and close his legs, and he'd start making some saves.
Yeah, and then that happened. No, it was good timing. I give you.
I've never had better timing in my
all the
life.
kudos.
Good times. Again, they're all in fun.
Of course. Outside of the
If
game,
I wasn't
I'm sure that these
post-game,
guys are amazing
I'd say,
people.
Like, hey, come get a drink, but I'm on the line getting buried after the game, so
Yeah.
order.
Yeah.
No, I shouldn't say order less food. That's bad. We want the business.
Yeah. No, I mean, I had to just real quick, because you did bring it up. You know, I've had I've had to defend certain players because that aren't on Utica, because people have a bad impression about them. You know, after the Texas game, you know, their celebration, I defended that because yes, it was a bit much. But when you got the adrenaline pumping like that after such a hard-fought game, I'm not going to hold that against them. You know, I had a quick chat on Twitter after the game with Uzi, and I also literally walked across the arena and you know, gave him a handshake, said good game, because it was deserved. And he is a great human being and doesn't deserve, you know, some of the hate that he was getting. Right. The same thing goes for Dom Francis, another amazing human being that you might not like on the field because he does tend to score on us, but just, I mean, the guy's a sweetheart. Like, he's a great person. And, you know, I always look forward to, I don't get to talk to him every time, but I look forward to him coming to town. I look forward to when we make our trips periodically down to Harrisburg. Like, he's a great person. And so don't judge a person on the field, or don't judge a person based on what they do on the field. I mean, look what we judged Nelly for, and he's a sweetheart. Like, he's a great guy. So I just think before you talk smack about some of these people. That's all.
Yeah.
And I'll get off my soapbox now.
But yeah, we gave our predictions. We talked games. Let's see everybody at the Odd on Sunday. Keep this winning streak going. Until next time.
Let's do it.
Go Utica. And thank you for watching.
Bye.
Thank you for listening to the Keeper's Corner podcast on whatever podcast app you use. Please make sure to hit that subscribe button so you never miss an episode. If you'd like to interact with us, you can find us on Facebook, Instagram, Threads, and Twitter, or X, whatever you prefer to call it. We have a TeePublic shop where you can get UCFC player swag or help support the podcast. Thank you. We appreciate it. And one last thing, go Utica City.